Critters is generally seen as a Gremlins ripoff, but the screenplay was done before Gremlins was even announced. The director based the alien creatures off of a nightmare he had as a child. Given that it stuck with him for so many years, that must have been one heck of a nightmare. The story for Critters is as classic as they come, for better or for worse. It opens up on a prison planet, and alien creatures known as the Krites have escaped. So they call in these highlighter heads to come hunt them down and kill them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, we meet the Brown family. Helen, Jay, April, and Brad. Nice name. Very typical stuff here. April's talking about boys, Brad's messing around with her, Jay's all excited for a bowling tournament he's got going on, and Helen makes a big giant breakfast for everyone, and they barely touch it.
Thank you for the lovely breakfast you prepared, Mother.
We also meet the town's sheriff, Harv, and Charlie, who's been sleeping off a few too many beers he had the previous night. Aside from being the town drunk, Charlie's also known to be a little cuckoo, hearing voices in his head, which he claims come from his fillings. That's an actual thing that can happen, you know. Up in space, we see a pretty cool superpower the bounty hunters have. They can change their appearance just by looking at someone. We get some pretty great special effects here, I'm not gonna lie. It's the best part of the whole movie. Also, I have to note, do you like the song that's playing here? Well, get used to it. They play it every chance they get. Back on Earth, we see Charlie and Brad blowing stuff up when April comes home with her new boyfriend, Billy Zane, with hair. I didn't know he ever had hair in any movie he's been in. The family eats dinner, April and Billy head off to the barn for some alone time, and Brad sneaks out to mess with them. So far, it's all kind of boring. Come on, get to the good stuff. Well, you just know the little critters are going to land on the farm and wreak some havoc. But it does take a while for that to happen. And even longer before we actually get to see one. Our first glimpse, and I do mean glimpse, it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of deal, is when one rolls in front of the deputy who's out driving around. He thinks it was just a dog and gets out to take a look, getting needled in the process, like a porcupine. And that's all she wrote for the poor deputy, but don't worry, we'll see him again soon. Back at the house, the family's attacked, starting with the cat. Then Helen, who sees red eyes in the window. But before it can get her, Jay comes in, and nothing happens. That is until they try to call the cops. The phones are down, and soon the power cuts out as well. Huh? Jay's the first to get attacked. Luckily, he's a pretty tough dude and can take a few hits. That is until he's porcupined, and he needs his family to pull him to safety to bandage him up. Instead of, taking him to a hospital. The bounty hunters find the now dead officer, and this is who the second one takes the shape of. They have a look around the car and eventually peel out of there. April's still making out with Billy Zane in the barn. Yeah, did you forget about that? Well, say bye-bye Billy, because he's the next Krite's victim. Brad finds his sister, who's still alive, and gets creative with some explosives. At least now we know these things can be killed. Once they get enough strength, the family gathers together to hunt some of the rolling tumbleweeds down. A bit of bad news, though, is that they are getting bigger. That's not good. Jay's attacked, and Helen uses a shotgun like a golf club. When she does finally learn how to shoot, it's all out of shells. She quickly loads up and starts blasting, where we learn these things can actually talk, and they have quite the potty mouth. Now we're at the bowling alley, Jay's team wondering where he is, when the bounty hunters come in to cause a ruckus. Nice shot. They head into the bar and ask about the Krites, like anyone there would know what they're talking about. The one bounty hunter ends up turning into Charlie, and a fight breaks out. Back to the Brown family, who's still hiding in their house, when the creatures come crashing in through the window. And this time, it's Helen who gets the poison dart. Brad gets a hold of the shotgun, but he slips and falls. Oh well, it still gets the job done. What's with this family and not knowing how to use a weapon? Well, they group up and devise a plan. With Jay out of commish, Brad's tasked with going to find some help. And, well, he does, stopping the bounty hunters who are just cruising around. Brad figures out pretty quickly that these guys are aliens in human skin suits and joins their team to help take down the Krites. Back home, they continue to fight until they run out of ammo. Luckily, just in time, the good guys show up to take a hold of the situation. But even they're no match for the sheer number of critters infesting the house. And one gets past them, taking April back to their ship. Brad runs into Charlie on his way to save his sister, the real Charlie, not the bounty hunter one, and he climbs on board the alien ship, waking up his sister without being caught. Before they can make their escape, however, Brad has a little going away present for our furry friends, which he calls a firecracker. Bro, that's straight up TNT. But he can't get it lit in time. Outside, Charlie pulls a Molotov cocktail out of his butt. Seriously, where was he hiding that? Well, they toss it inside the ship as it takes off. Before it lights up, however, the Krites blow up the Brown family's house. Just for the fun of it. Well, as you might guess, the firecracker blows up and the critters are toast. Brad thanks the bounty hunters, even though he did all the work, and they give him a little device. What's it do? Well, it rebuilds their house for them. That's pretty convenient. And of course, because this is a horror movie, you have to have that cliffhanger ending. And that was Critters. All I have to say is...
Ugh. Where did they come up with this stuff?
First off, I really like the Krites' powers. They can roll into a ball, shoot you with poison needles, and just look at those teeth. That alone makes them pretty cool. But they also have a potty mouth. Come on, that's pretty great. The bounty hunters were cool too. Even though they didn't really do all that much in the movie, I did like their look. The only real negative is that before the aliens land on Earth, it gets pretty boring. I know you have to have character building and all that stuff, but the family in this movie are as basic as they come. When I first saw them, I already knew everything I needed to know. Just get to the critters already. This movie spawned 4 sequels, and although it didn't do so well in theaters, it does have a cult following. When it comes to B-movies, you really can't get more stereotypical than Critters, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. If you want to watch an alien monster movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, then look no further. I give Critters 2.5 highlighter heads out of 4.